You're now rocking with the best. Who's the boxing show that's knocking out the competition? The kick-ass podcast that make you want to listen. The place where boxing fans and fighters rejoice. Thumbs up for Richie. You're listening to the fighter's voice.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Fighter's Voice podcast radio show. I'm your host, Richard Ortiz, with sponsors of tonight's show, Red Wave Tattoo in Fresno, California, Pound for Pound CBD, endorsed by Mikey Garcia, criminal justice attorney Miles Harris. He'll protect you and he will take care of you. Certified heat and air. Ask for Jesse. As you see, I'm rocking their hat right now. They'll keep you cool, collective, and service your AC unit. And we got some more subjects tonight that we're going to be talking about. And then we'll give a in detail sponsorship on how they can be reached and how can they be contacted. Tonight's guest, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I call him a future Hall of Fame trainer because he is a part of boxing history. He is a part of a legacy that continues to grow. And that's the American dream. Never say never. He's been a part of something that he's been a part of a miracle. Almost when the USA team beat Canada, man, when people couldn't believe it, the same energy, the same fairy tale story, but this one came true. And I'm talking about him being a part of history of the first Mexican American heavyweight champion of the world, Andy Ruiz. He was in his corner, got him prepped, got him ready, and they won the bout together, and that can never be erased. That's part of history. So I do call our guest a future Hall of Famer. He's a boxing guru. He's loved throughout the world. And you know what? He takes them all, man. Male, female, black, white, brown, you name it, from the ground up, and he makes them and prepares them not just for a champion inside of the ring, but a champion in life. Ladies and gentlemen, enough said. Our guest tonight, Manny Robles. Welcome to the show, Manny.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate your kind words, man. I'm blessed. What can I say? I'm a lucky man. I'm very fortunate to live the life I'm living today. To be part of boxing, but part of a sport I'm so passionate about, and to have friends like yourself, man. Have boxing gives you the opportunity to travel, to travel the world, and it gives you the opportunity to meet a lot of interesting people, man. So you're one of them. So I thank you for having me on your show.
I appreciate that, man, and I'll follow by saying this. Ali Setback told me, he said, Richard, you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Oh, that's a fact. That's a fact.
And you're enjoying it right now, man. You're in the prime of your life. It doesn't get any better than this today. And yet I can say that you're not alone, because I read one of your articles, man. You feel your dad's presence with you every step of the way.
No, absolutely.
Man, can you elaborate on that? Can you express your feelings on that, if you don't mind?
Absolutely, man. Look, my dad's no longer here. My dad passed away about 13 years ago. And I think about my dad every day of my life. You know, man, he's the reason why I'm here. You know, he molded me into the man that I am today. He introduced me to boxing, you know, took me to the gym for the first time. He was a fighter, a boxer himself. And I knew from the get-go at a very young age that boxing was going to be part of my life. And somehow, some way, you know, maybe, you know, it was my dream to become a world champion. It was my dream to go to the Olympics as an amateur, to be a world champion as a pro. That never happened. But it something within me said, boxing's gonna end up being part of my life forever. And I thank my dad for that, because my dad, you know, taught me the ropes, man. I mean, you know, my dad was with me 100% of the way. You know, it wasn't always perfect. You know, things weren't always, you know, nice. But but he's the one that lifted me up whenever I fell. He's the one that picked me right up whenever things weren't not seem to be going my way. So, you know, when we won the world title, you know, I won world titles with several, you know, boxers, you know, together with my dad, and then obviously on my own now as a coach. But the moment we won that heavyweight championship of the world with Andy Ruiz, man, I mean, I got really emotional that night because it made me think about all the struggles and all the all the negative things in life, all the good and the bad, but mostly the struggles that mold you into the person that you are. And that's that. And with that said, my dad was the first person that came to mind, because I felt my dad's presence in that corner, when we're fighting, the heavyweight champion for the world versus Anthony Joshua. I felt my dad's presence, man. I felt my dad somehow, some way, I felt like he was there, and he helped me, he guided me to do, make the right calls, and do the right thing in the corner by Andy's side. And so obviously when we won the world title, my dad was with me, man. And it was a very emotional moment for me, because my dad's my best friend, and he's no longer here, but I just want him to know that I think about him every day, and I thank him for everything, and for making me the man I am today. And I'm very blessed. I'm humbled, and and that's how I was brought up. Stay humble, stay grounded, work hard, and just believe in yourself, and know that dreams do come true when you work hard. And by the way, I was just watching with my son. My son. I was sitting in the living room, watching TV with my son, getting ready for the interview right now.
That's right.
And I was watching the Moreno fight, the UFC kid, the flyweight champion, first Mexican UFC champion of the world. I had not seen the fight until a few minutes ago, man, and it just reminded me of Andy Ruiz all over again. So very special moment, man. And dreams do come true, man, when you put your heart and soul into what you do, and you go to work, and you believe in yourself, and you believe in the people around you, your coaches, the system. I mean, anything in life is possible, for sure.
You know what? I wanted to honor your father right off the bat. Coming off still Father's Day, and if anybody deserves recognition and deserves to speak those words, it's you, my man. So very well said, man. Very well said. You know what? This weekend was a very busy weekend for boxing. I mean, Showtime had a stacked card. The Zone started early. They had a stacked card. And Triller, that card fell out, but it was still scheduled to go. Top Rank Boxing, I mean, they've been putting together some great matchmaking, a great card as well. And we're going to talk about some of those other cards, but there's one that sticks to mind. And a lot of people weren't going to really tune in, but I tuned in because Hector Macho Camacho Jr. is a personal friend of mine, and I wanted to show my support. And I could have got a link, I could have did all that other stuff, but we purchased the fight. I posted that we purchased the fight because he's getting a certain percentage off that, and I wanted to show my support because I'm thinking of all the people that have asked him for tickets, that have asked him for T-shirts, and I've asked him for. Hey man, let's support our fighters, man, and let's do it the right way, because they put their life in jeopardy. They go through all the training camp, and at the end of the day, yes, they bring home some great purses, but at the end of the day, man, they're in the ring taking the punches, not us. They're entertaining us. So I wanted to show our support by doing so. And I wanted to ask you, if you didn't watch the fight, did you at all read up on it at all? Did you have any take on any of the outcomes of the event that took place?
I was in Las Vegas Saturday night. I was working Michaela Maynard's fight. So,
and we're going to talk about that later on in the show.
Yes, I didn't get a chance to watch any of the other fights on that were on TV that night, but I did read about them. Every single card, every single fight. Some upsets out there that occurred, and obviously the fights in Guadalajara. I was excited about the fights in Guadalajara, that's where Camacho and Chavez fought, because that's my city. That I was born in Guadalajara myself, so.
That's right.
I was if it wasn't for Michaela's fight, I would have probably been there at the Estadio Jalisco in Mexico, in Guadalajara. And I obviously we all know what happened with Chavez Jr. not making weight, but it's not the first time that happens. It's a shame, but I feel the right man won. The responsible fighter, the fighter that worked the hardest won, and that's Spider-Man Silva. So I got to tip my hat off to him and the team. I have some friends that are on, some coaches that are part of the Silva team. So I want to congratulate them. I want to congratulate Sergio Estrada, and I want to congratulate my good friend Nico Robledo, assistant coach to Spider-Man Silva. So great job. And then we know what happened with the Chavez, Omar Chavez, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yeah, Omar Chavez and
yes,
Canelo's brother
yes,
as
Omar
well.
Chavez and Canelo's brother. We know that Canelo's brother won that fight, that trilogy. So
Yeah.
congratulations to him as well. We all know that Canelo was in attendance, so that's great for Canelo to show up to such an event, and I mean that believe me, Canelo's probably not probably, but it's the biggest name in boxing right now. So for him to show up in his hometown at the Estadio Jalisco Stadium and be supportive of that event, that says a lot. That says a lot about Canelo.
It really does. It really does. You know, a lot of people, they get concerned or they'll get upset, because he's not there often, but the man only has one life and he has to continue to make business decisions. He has to continue to stay active in fighting. He has to continue to, stay well oiled and well preserved. And that's inside the gym. But that's the chance that he had, he went there and he made a great impact. I mean, they loved him there.
No, absolutely. And then he was there to support his brother.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
So that says a lot, and that says a lot about him, and he's and then obviously being there for the fans.
Yeah.
I saw him there taking pictures and then giving out autographs and being part of the cheering for his brother. I don't know if you caught that or not during his brother's.
Oh yeah, I did.
And pulling him on. He's a normal person like you and I. You know what I mean? He's there to support his brother, and so that I thought that was pretty cool on his part. And then obviously with the Chavez Senior fighting Hector Camacho Jr., I thought that was great. For both, for boxing, for the sport. Look, man, I was a big fan. I was obviously a huge fan of Julio Cesar Chavez, but I was also a big fan of Hector Macho Camacho. I grew up. I came out of a gym called Azteca Gym in the city of Bell, and there trained some of the best fighters in the world, like Chavez, like Hector Camacho. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to train around Hector Macho Camacho. Back in the day, he was managed by a Hall of Famer named Jimmy Montoya, his manager back in the day, promoter, matchmaker. He was a very well-known manager back then, back in the early 80s, mid 80s.
What was the energy like around Hector Camacho Sr.? I mean, I've been around it, but I want to hear it from you. What was the energy like?
Well, let me tell you something.
Okay, let me hear the story.
Absolutely. Camacho, a lot of people, particularly the Mexican fans or Mexican-American fans, weren't too fond of Camacho because, he had a big mouth and he was always talking trash. But in reality, that was just a cover-up, man, because Camacho was a class act.
Yeah.
Camacho was a nice guy all around. He was friendly to everybody, Mexican or non-Mexican. He treated everybody the same. And it was just he was to me, he was the original Macho, the original how can I put this? Flash, man. Come on now. He started it all.
Yes, he did.
Before Paez, because then Paez came
before
along
Nassim Hamed.
And Paez was great.
Before Paulie.
Say that again. Yeah, absolutely. And this man, he's a class act, man. And people paid to watch his fights, and some people pay to watch him lose. But guess what? It generated an audience, a big audience, a big following for boxing. So he was always exciting to watch. He's flamboyant. You know what I mean? And his wardrobe, and it's just a mixture of different things. And I actually got a chance to be around him, like I said, at the gym in Azteca. But I actually got a chance to watch some of his fights live, and believe me, man, he always put on a show. So between him and Chavez and that big rivalry until they ended up fighting, I mean, it was great. It was great for boxing, and these are two of the top names in boxing coming up. As I was, when I was a kid. So, I thank Camacho for everything he gave boxing, for everything he gave the sport, and now for his son to have given the opportunity to fight Chavez Senior. Can you imagine if Camacho was still around, and then to see him fight Chavez and go at it? And they would have packed the house.
They would
have packed the house.
Oh, definitely, because he would have been involved some way somehow in that corner. He would have probably stole the show, man.
Oh,
And
man.
let me tell you this. Can you imagine if they had social media back then when he was in his prime? I mean, we're talking about YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I mean, can you imagine how much more he would have blew up and how popular he would have been? Even more?
Automatic king of social media, man.
Oh yeah,
Hector Macho, he did it without social media.
exactly.
Can you imagine with it? Oh yeah, it would have been great.
Well, I wanted to bring that up because I wanted Hector to feel that and hear some good energy about his father. You know, I talked to him just yesterday, and you know, he told me, so Richard, it was a tough ring walk out there. He said, but I soaked it up, and I'm glad I was able to fulfill. And he you know what, man, he got some clarity out of it. He got some relief out of it. You know, some serenity, I would say.
Right. And you're talking at a personal level, right? From, you know,
Yes,
his father and
yeah,
and the whole you know the whole thing with Chavez versus Camacho.
yes, exactly.
And I can imagine that must have been you know pretty like you said, pretty exciting, pretty
amazing, man.
emotional.
It was good for him, and it was
Right?
good for boxing.
Exciting, but at the same time emotional.
Yes.
Such an emotional moment. Yeah, I believe it, man. I mean, his dad was special. And that I was like I said, I was a huge fan. Some of my friends growing up back in the day when I was a kid, and everybody was pro Chavez and Chavez this and Chavez that. Yep. And I was being Mexican. I was a fan of boxing.
Yeah.
So I would tell my friends I'm a fan of Camacho's, and I took a lot of heat for that, to be honest with you, you know. But you know, the rivalry between Mexico versus Puerto Rico, it's always been there. So back then, it was you know, either you're with Chavez or you're with Camacho, but you can't be with both. And I like both guys. You know
I like the sport of boxing, so yeah, I was a fan of both. Honestly, I was. But I mean, Chavez, when there was a Chavez fight, the whole family got together, we barbecued, and we made sure we were tuned in on Saturday.
That's right. And you know what I would tell my friends, and I tell people nowadays, don't think about getting married, having a birthday party, having a baptism or anything like that. If you knew Chavez was fighting that Saturday night, you better cancel, you better postpone, man, because nobody's showing up.
That's real talk. That's real talk.
For real, man. Ain't nobody. And you know, back then it was hard to watch a fight. You know, closed circuit. You know, you had to go to the bar or find everybody would show up. If you had to fight at home, you knew everybody was showing up. You know what I mean?
Whole small living room was filled in that tube, that 25-inch tube, because we didn't have the 50-inch screens or any of that stuff like today.
That's right.
It was a 25-inch. If you were fortunate, you had a 27-inch tube, man. And everybody's gathered around the living room, and everybody made sure they pitched in. Everybody brought something, and you know, he brought us together, man.
Most definitely.
And he definitely made us proud to be who we are. You know, I mean, even more proud. He was our voice piece, and he was everything we wanted to say and do, and nobody for that time couldn't take it away from us.
No,
it was ours. It belonged to us.
Definitely, most definitely. Chavez, and you know, we mentioned Hector Macho Camacho, and then that in boxing. What about? I mean, and this has irrelevant. This is a different sport, but Fernando Valenzuela and
absolutely,
and baseball, man.
Absolutely, you know what I mean? Absolutely. I'm going to go and you know what, and I'm going to say this, because I know they have jerseys and you know, you can get them cheaper now. They're not the real ones, but you can get them cheaper. Bro, I went out and spent it, man. $2.99, man. Asked my girl for Fernando Valenzuela. I had to throw a throwback, but I wanted to make sure it was real, man. And when you see it, you put it on. I mean, you know, hey, man, you can wear that. Even Giant fans appreciate that.
Oh, most definitely. I got my jersey in my closet. You know,
absolutely, man. And I wear it on special occasions, man.
That's right.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. I mean, I'm not rolling like that, but I saved up for that, man. Oh yeah, that too. In my Chavez shirts. Back then they were size large. I'm not a large anymore, but you know, they fit me a little different. But I just can't give them away just yet. They're still there.
That's right.
Talking about still there, man. I mean, off the air, before we went on, I talked about the Four Kings, and we're talking about Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, Roberto Duran, Thomas the Hitman Hearns, and you know, who could ever repeat that? Who could ever come close, or who should be in that today? And And we're going to reflect back, and we're going to talk about a couple fighters that came close to that I would say that really didn't get the attention of the Four Kings, but they made an attempt to at least step up and fight each other. And we're going to talk about them in just a second. But I want to talk about who would you put in there today, or who would you like to see step up? What for?
Right. It's hard to say. Nowadays, it's difficult. There's a lot of great fighters out there, but they have to want to fight each other.
Yes.
They got to want to fight each other. I don't see anybody, taking that risk. Maybe at 140 pounds, maybe 130 with Teofimo. If Teofimo moves up to 140, it can get a lot more interesting because there's a lot of monsters at 140 right now.
Yeah, yes, there is. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of those.
Yeah. It's probably, in my opinion, it's probably the hottest division in boxing is 140 pounds.
Yes, and now Tank wanting to move up. Tank wanting to move up to 140. You got Arnold Barboza, Zepeda, Ramirez still there. Josh Taylor's the unified champion. Regis Prograis. Mikey Garcia's dropping down. I mean,
I'm telling you, some of these guys, although some of these guys that you mentioned, I mean, there's only really there's one world champion at 140 right now.
Yeah,
which is Josh Taylor.
Yes, and very well deserved and well earned. He fought his ass off. Right,
and you got Barrios fighting Tank Davis on Saturday, which is another belt belongs to the. There's only in my point of view, there's only one world champion at 140. Like I said, the one WBA world champion, undisputed world champion Josh Taylor.
Yes,
there's another belt there on the line, which belongs to Barrios. He's a world champion at 140 WBA. I don't know what that's all about, but he's a good fighter. And he's fighting Javonta Davis. And I was just talking about that with my kid, and it's going to be a good fight. Now here we have Javonta Davis moving up from 135 to 140. That's a big risk, especially someone like Barrios with his height advantage and his length advantage. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to watching that fight. But then again, you have Jose Ramirez. He can definitely become world champion once again at 140, maybe move up to 147. But Zepeda giving us the fight of the year last year, and a great fight.
And he fought Ramirez very tough.
Oh, definitely. I believe there was a majority decision.
Yes, it was. It
was a very, very, very good fight.
I was there, and I got a little nervous. I thought Jose pulled off the championship rounds, but still, you don't want to leave any close fight in the hands of the judges. You just really don't.
No. And at the same time, what does it tell you? It tells you that there's a lot of great talent at 140 pounds. Anybody on any given night can become a world champion. You know what I mean? It's just
exactly.
You have a bad night. Look, I believe Jose Ramirez had a great fight. If it wasn't for the knockdowns, the judges could have had it a draw. I mean,
absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
It was tough. It wasn't easy for Josh Taylor. He fought a good fight, but Ramirez fought a very good fight himself. Unfortunately for him, he suffered a couple of knockdowns, but he got back up.
He did.
He
got a banging.
He was banging, man. I thought when he went down the first time, I was like, oh, and he came out and he fought. He wasn't holding. He wasn't running away from the fight. He fought. No. I'm like, wow. I was impressed by Jose Ramirez. I tip my hat out to him, and he's a good friend of mine. And I worked with him with Team USA when when he was getting ready for the Olympics, and I was part of the team back then, and I had the pleasure of working with him and being around him, and we became good friends. And we traveled together to the World Championships, the Olympic qualifier. So I've been following his career since day one, man. So for him to become a world champion at 140 and win two of the major belts, and make all of them title defenses, and to see him become one of the top fighters at that weight class today, believe me, that says a lot about him, especially coming from Avenel, California, such a small town, where people think, once again, if you believe in yourself, if you don't let anything or anybody stop you from accomplishing your goals and your dreams, man. And Jose Ramirez is a testament to that. And here's another fighter that we had to be thankful for, giving us the fight that he gave us the other night versus Josh Taylor, and giving us so many exciting fights with Sean Zepeda and so many others. Maurice Hooker when he won the IBF title, the list goes on and on. So Jose Ramirez, thank you, buddy.
I will say this. I'm going to say this. When Jose was with Freddie Roach, they had just finished working out, and I was talking to Jose right outside Wildcard. Your name came up. He spoke very highly of you, very, very highly of you. And I remember because I wanted to hear the conversation because Marie came by and she said, she told my camera, hey, I got some shirts and hats for you guys. Come upstairs with me. So I didn't go, and Jose goes, hey, go get a shirt. They're very nice. I go, no, I'll go get one right now because I wanted to hear what he had to say because he was opening up to me, but he spoke very highly of you. So man, I will say that.
Yeah, we're like I said, man, we're good friends. We go way back. You know, we had some good times together on Team USA. We used to hang out together, you know, outside of boxing, you know, we used to just talk and walk and, you know, we just, you know, he just opened himself to me. Just, you know what I mean? We're in the middle of nowhere, man, on the other side of the world and Baku, Azerbaijan, you know what I mean? And we're just, you know, hanging out and just, you know, just talking about, you know, the future and here we are today, you know, him being, you know, one of the top fighters in the world, becoming a world champion. And I couldn't be more prouder.
Exactly. And someone to stay on the subject, his manager, Rick Morigian, texted me this. He said, I have a fighter with him now, which is you, which is Manny Robles. Yeah. And that's, is it Batur?
Yeah, Batir.
Okay. I wanted to make sure I said it right.
Yeah, Kumbaya. Yeah.
And he said, I've always wanted to work with him. And he is one of my favorite coaches. He was with Jose in the Olympics, coached him. I spent time with him in Brazil and in London. And he's a great person, a great coach. He said, tell him I said that. And he is one of the best out there. Thank you. That's from Rick Morigian.
Oh, man, that's Rick. That says a lot coming from Rick. You know, I've known Rick for a very, very long time. And Rick is one of the best managers in boxing, man. One of the best managers in this business. He's one of the good guys, and you know, great team between Rick and Jose Ramirez and everything that they've been able to accomplish together as a team.
They've come a long way.
And the loyalty and the commitment and knowing that, hey, we started this together, we're gonna end this together, and that says a lot. That says a lot about Rick. It says a lot about Jose Ramirez. The integrity and the
class.
The class more than most definitely.
You know as well as I do, Manny, not everybody's going to agree. And you're going to have your moments where you disagree. You're going to have your maybe, I don't want to use the word salty, but you're going to have your moments where it may even get heated. But at the end of the day, we're on the same team. We have the same goals and we need to work together. I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't want a bunch of, okay, everything's perfect. I want to know those things are healthy because then you realize you get to get some things out and you get to realize, hey, this is a struggle along the way, but we're both making the sacrifices and we got to believe in each other on some of the decision making and know that that's what's best for the team.
No, most definitely. Of course, you're not always going to agree. You're not always going to see eye to eye, but hey, listen, we got to. It's the only way to get better. Sometimes you got to hear the truth. You may not like it, but I got to tell you the truth, man. And if I don't agree with something, then you got to hear it. And it's good for two gentlemen like themselves to be able to work together, go together, and to see them have the success that they're having today. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm smiling because I saw some of those heated conversations, and you know, at the end of the day, iron sharpens iron, man, and they work well together. It's like a dynamic duel. It's still pumping fuel, man, and they've only just begun. They've only just begun because Jose gets the opportunity to have a great learning lesson and come back not just better but wiser. And you know, rather have that now, make the corrections, the adjustments now than at the end of the road or somewhere else when you didn't need it. He's still young, he's still in there, and he's a phone call away, man. Because there's a lot of things, and you know what? Since he's on the ballot right now, I'll say ballot because he's in a good situation right now. Because in reality, you're looking at it honestly about possibly a 3-year to 2-year setback on getting another title shot. But because of the structure, the way it's laid out, and I'm going to throw two different roads at you. Josh Taylor defends, and then we'll say he vacates, moves up to 147. Well, you got the WBA, the WBC, the IBF, and the WBO. Us, the fans and the followers and supporters, unless politics just goes completely haywire. We get to
Right.
see some of those some of the monsters at 140
Mhm.
compete for a belt. So we get
Mhm.
to see possibly Regis against Mikey, possibly Cepeda against Arnold
Correct.
Barboza, possibly Jose Ramirez against another Tank Davis. I mean,
Mhm.
because they're all moving, or maybe we'll say Teofimo,
Mhm.
because they're all
Mhm.
for those vacated belts. So we get to
Mhm.
see these matchups.
Correct. And then not only that, look, whether they fight for a world title or not, we're gonna watch. Who
Absolutely.
doesn't want to see? Who doesn't want to see? Jose Ramirez fight Chon Cepeda once again, title or
Yeah.
no title on the line.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I'd like to see Cepeda and Arnold Barboza. Can you imagine that?
Oh man, can you imagine? That would be a
The
great fight. And
styles.
and whether they're fighting for again,
Mikey and
whether
Regis.
if there's a world title on the line or not, I mean, we're gonna watch. We're gonna pay to see. I want to be there. I want to watch this fight. And the real boxing fans, diehard boxing fans are eager to watch these fights,
Yes.
belt or no belt. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I've always said this. No disrespect to all the sanctioning bodies out there, but I've always said this: the belt doesn't make the fighter makes the belt.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
The fighter makes the belt, man, and I really believe that you can become as big as you want to. Once you have that belt, it's great. Whether any of the four major sanctioning bodies, it's every fighter's dream to become a world champion. But it's up to the fighter to make the belt, and not the belt make the fighter.
I'm going to say this right now. He's a friend of mine. A lot of people thought the belt made this fighter, but in his last fight, Jamal Herring made that belt.
Oh man,
is that a safe statement to say?
You can say that, but what Jamal Herring was able to accomplish, man, is remarkable.
Absolutely.
It's remarkable, man. I mean, this guy has been.
Hey, Manny, you're not supposed to have favorites, but I have favorites when it comes to Jamal. Simplify Herring. I really do.
What? Let me tell you something, okay? Let me tell you something about a very, very good friend of mine. His name is Rudy Hernandez. One of the best cutmen, one of the best coaches, my mentor, my personal friend. I love this guy, Rudy Hernandez. He's a very well-known figure in boxing, and he was the coach of the Japanese fighter. I forgot his name. That fought Jamal when Jamal won the world title.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. But the point is this. Rudy Hernandez tells me, he says, man, let me tell you something. Losing sucks. But if I had to lose that world title, I wouldn't mind losing it to Jamal Herring. He's one of the good guys in boxing.
Yes, he is, man.
Nobody wants to lose. Who wants to lose?
Nobody does.
I got to lose my belt. Look, man, I want to lose it to this guy because this guy is such a nice guy. He's such a class act. Yeah. He's a gentleman. He's somebody that we as fans love to pull for because he's a class act again. He's a gentleman of the sport, and he's disciplined. And not only that, man, but the story behind Jamal.
Yes,
it's a remarkable. Look, I was also Jamal. Was part of the 2012 U.S. Olympic team, and
yes,
we were both on the team together. And that's another fighter I had the opportunity to work with at an amateur level with Jamal. And Jamal, you got to remember one thing: Jamal was fought at 141 pounds at the Olympic.
Yes, he did. He fought heavier than Jose.
Yes. Jose was 132.
Yes,
and Jamal was being 141. At the amateur, the weight classes are different in the amateurs anyway. So he went from 141 to 135, from 135 to 130, dropped 2 weight classes.
And is shredded and always in tremendous shape.
Always in tremendous shape. Gets dropped after a couple of losses, gets dropped from his last promoter.
Yeah.
Is given the opportunity with Top Rank. He makes the most out of it. Top Rank, again, one of the best promoters in boxing. They know how to build champions. They know how to get you there. They give you the opportunity, and he got it. He got a chance. He got an opportunity. He got a crack at it, and he became a world champion when a lot of people counted him out. You know what I mean? He's got a remarkable story, man. And I tip my hat off to Jamal and for everything that he's been able to accomplish in boxing. He's a class act, man, a gentleman. and again, a world champion. And now he's making the belt. The belt's not making him. So
Exactly. Very
you know
well
what I mean?
said. And not only that, and I don't want to get on this. I'm going to get off the subject just for a second, because I've always said, and Top Rank gave him an opportunity. Well, he got another opportunity. At first, it was with, was it? It was, gosh, TV. Who's the ones? The Ring TV, or who is it? Well, anyways, he got his opportunity to commentate, and he's always joking around the Jamal Herring show.
Ring City
Yeah,
USA.
Ring City USA.
Uh-huh.
Yes, he did a
Yeah.
great job. He
Uh-huh.
was commentating with Showtime Sean Porter. And I wanted
correct.
to talk about, I mean, your commentating. A lot of fans have said they want to hear you more on,
Right
and
on.
they should hear you more because of a lot of stuff that's, that's people are opinionated. And
Right.
I think you should be out there. And you and Christina Potter make a great team. I just
Right
wanted
on.
to
I
tell you that.
appreciate that. Thank you very much. Well, given, if the opportunity, shows up at my door, man, I'm willing to take it. Absolutely, man. I enjoyed it. Look, at Christina Poncher is an incredible person, incredible human being, and she walked me through it. And she was my teacher, my mentor. She walked me through the whole process. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have, I don't know what could have happened. But she was of a lot of help, and I appreciate her, and I thank her for that.
Oh, she's a very nice woman, man, and class act too. She's been on the show. She's actually been in studio, and even brought her mom with her and her kids.
Yeah.
They were right outside, and her
Yeah.
mom was babysitting the beautiful little children that she had.
Mhm.
Jamal Herring has a future as a commentator. I love the way he handles himself. Class act. He's good for boxing, bottom line. And I will be rooting for him. I know he has a tough one coming up. It hasn't been scheduled yet. It hasn't been official yet, but we're going to be rocking and rolling for Semper Fi Herring when that gets signed.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Yes, sir. So I want to go back to, we talked about the four kings on the top of the show. If there was another set of fighters that history has it, I'd like to say that that's come close. And we're talking about the lower division. I'm talking about Manny Pacquiao, Eric Morales, Barrera, and Marquez.
Mm-hmm.
And some might have just missed each other on fighting, but yet they were still part of something special. That special group, that special pedigree, that special greatness. Because we have a lot of good fighters, even some champions, but not all of them have that greatness.
Mm-hmm. No, most definitely. Look, and then you mentioned Barrera, Morales. They fought 3 times, and then Morales, Pacquiao 3 times, and then Marquez, Pacquiao 4. I mean, geez, that's it, man. They all fought each other, with the exception of Marquez and Eric Morales. They never fought, but nonetheless, we between those guys, we saw a lot of great fights. And we don't see them fights nowadays. I can't think of right now at this point. There's a lot of good fighters. There's a lot of good. We mentioned 140-pound weight category where anybody can fight each other tonight, and they would make for great fights. But as far as big names are concerned, I can't think of any. Not like those guys. Not like the Hagler, Sugar Ray, Thomas Hearns. Manos de Piedra, Duran. I mean, I miss them days.
That was a very special era, man. I mean, it was. And I grew up rooting for Thomas the Hitman Hearns. I mean, he was my favorite all-time fighter, man. I knew everything about him inside and out. It just, even when he took his losses, he took them hard. But I was there rooting for him, man. I was still there, man. And looking back at Barrera, man, Manny Pacquiao had his number twice. Certain fighters have certain fighters' numbers, and it just it's part of the sport. It's part of the matchup.
No, absolutely. It's styles make fights.
Exactly.
Styles make fights, and then the Marquez, Juan Manuel Marquez versus Manny Pacquiao, and then Marquez fighting Timothy Bradley after defeating Pacquiao.
Yes, that's right.
Timothy Bradley upsets Manny Pacquiao, and then they fight again, and then Pacquiao wants the second fight. So, man, take your pick. A lot of good fights, a lot of great fights, and again, Timothy Bradley being part of it, you can go ahead and add him to the bunch, and but
Desert Storm.
I mean, but it's rare to see. It's rare to catch them type of fights nowadays. Unfortunately, everybody's scared of the L. Everybody's scared of a loss, and a loss should not define you. You know, it should not define you. It should not define who you are as a fighter. You know what I mean? It's I always say this: we either win or we learn.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Exactly.
We win or we learn, but we don't losing. We don't lose. We learn. You lose when you throw in the towel. You lose when you give up. You lose when you say no more. But why not learn? Why not learn from those defeats? Why not learn from from those mistakes and get up and do it again? And we've seen fighters again like Juan Manuel Marquez. Juan Manuel Marquez lost his professional.
Can you imagine if Jose Ramirez and Josh Taylor didn't want to fight because they didn't want to take an L, but they dared themselves to be great. They believed. They believed in themselves. And any fighter, any great matchup, they put themselves in that ring, all risk, and they dare themselves to be great. Why don't you think more about winning than thinking about losing? You know, back then they just wanted to fight. I mean, these guys were some tough dudes. I mean, Hagler, I mean, Duran, that guy, I mean, reminded me of Helter Skelter when you look at him. And then Sugar Ray Leonard, just so smart. And he was king of the mind games. He was king of the, okay, I'm the A side. Because I mean, it was introduced to him, but see, and we could talk about that too, because that's open doors. But who was the one who really started it back then? I mean, you know, there was a fighter and who complained because he would always have those tassels, long tassels, and a lot of people said, well, that was a distraction. But Sugar Ray Leonard, you know, he was a shot caller. Duran, hey, anytime, any day. He reminds me like of the Diaz brothers. He's just ready to throw down and gamble and have a few.
That's right. Well, look, Sugar Ray Leonard, I believe that. Him being on the A side and having that support system behind him came from him winning the Olympic gold medal in 76.
Very well deserved, yes.
You know what I mean? Same thing with Oscar de la Hoya winning the Olympic gold in 92 and so forth. So with that, you know, being an Olympic gold medalist, I mean, that says a lot. That says a lot about a fighter. I mean, that makes you an American hero. You know what I mean? For that matter, and so you have that, and you deserve that. It's well deserved, you know, to win an Olympic medal. And you asked Oscar de la Hoya, what's his most significant out of all his titles? What's his most significant win? He'll say it time and time again. It's winning the Olympic gold. You know, giving the WBC, yes, the green belt, WBA, and so forth and so on. But the gold, winning a gold medal, I mean, that
representing USA, your country.
Absolutely. So for Sugar Ray to, you know, back in 76 winning a gold, I mean, he was the man to beat. He was on a Wheaties box, man. You know what I mean? You get on a Wheaties box.
Anthony Howard too, right?
Pardon me?
Was it Anthony Howard? No. Who is it? Howard Davis? Who's the other Olympic gold in his class?
I don't know. Back in 76, you're saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I can't recall.
Someone Google me and text me right now, man. And,
yeah.
You know, but they'll let me know.
Back then, they used to fight. 76. I was watching Sugar Ray Leonard, man, fight. They were fighting without headgears, bro.
Yes, that's right,
man. And then the headgears came along, and now no headgears again. And it's just, sorry, guys. Granddaughter.
Oh, there you go. Little cameo. Is that your grandbaby, your daughter?
Yes, my grandbaby, my granddaughter.
All right. Hey.
Here you go, Manny.
Made a little cameo. There you go. You go. That's a proud papa right there. I have my granddaughter Sienna too, and she always puts a smile on my face, man.
That's right.
I know that, and that keeps me digging. That keeps me pushing, man. But I will say this, and I want to talk about Oscar de la Hoya. You know, he gets so much negativity from the press and this and that. But I'm going to say this: he changed the sport of boxing, because before Oscar de la Hoya, unless you were a date or your manager said you're going to show up and sit ringside because it's going to help your career, he brought females to the gate. He brought females to boxing, and it hasn't went away.
No, big time. I mean, I'm telling you. I mean, there was no other person like Oscar to pull in many women into a boxing arena. Forget about it. Nobody did it better than Oscar, man. And he could fight.
Yeah, and he could fight.
Olympic. I mean, look, Olympic gold medalist. And without social media, by the way.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's just an Olympic gold medalist, good-looking guy, could fight, you know, won multiple world titles in multiple weight classes. It's you know, like another great fighter, you know, Fernando Vargas. Fernando, good friend of mine, Fernando.
Hey, his kids are dynamite.
Oh yeah, they're
That
great,
whole, the whole
man. Yeah,
Fernando Vargas, they all got that DNA in them, man.
hey,
And they
man.
all got their own little personalities,
Yeah,
their own little, how can I say it? Their own little like spaz in them. You know what I mean? Their own
that's
little,
right.
like, they got their own little personality,
The,
man. So you
the
got one that's real
personality
slick and one
and
with
and there's
power,
different.
one with everything.
Correct. Different style too. You know,
Yes.
they don't all they don't fight the same. They
No.
all have their different personalities, as you said, and they have their own. They carry their own particular styles. And I've had them in the gym, Fernando and his kids in the gym recently, and I mean we had a blast. They live in
I bet.
Vegas. I'm in LA,
Yeah.
and I had a blast with his kids, a blast with Fernando. Man, he just make me laugh every day. I didn't want him to leave. I said, man, it was hard to say goodbye to Fernando and his kids. I knew that eventually they had to, make it back to Las Vegas, man. I never wanted them to leave. I had a blast with those guys, man. It was a great experience having them in the gym, sparring with all my guys, and then, them going at it and talking all that trash. I just get a kick out of all that.
Oh,
I laugh.
that's good
You know
stuff
what I
right
mean?
there.
A lot of people might get pissed off. I just laugh at that. To me, it's funny. You know what I mean?
Hey,
Because
it's
at the end of
entertaining, man.
the,
It's okay to be
it's
entertained.
entertaining. At the end of the day, you got to do your talking in the ring. So
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you this. Honestly, you know what I love? I
What's that?
love to see when Fernando's coaching his kids. I love to see the reaction when his kids are near him. I mean, he just absolutely freaking glows,
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
proudness, the
yeah.
corazon, and I know that feeling. When Richie would
Mhm.
play baseball, when he would play soccer, there was nothing like sitting there and just
That's right.
watching just this beautiful moment being captured,
Mhm.
and just every single segment gets broken down, and it's just, I love it.
No, man.
And when I tune in, I like to see Fernando's reaction. I watch it, and I watch the love that they have for each other, both father and son, and all his sons. And
Mhm.
yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing. Boxing
Yeah.
needs that.
Oh man, it's great. Fernando's a class act, man. Fernando's he's such a great guy. And then, if you know a little bit of Fernando if you know a little bit about Fernando's upbringing, he had it tough, man. He had it rough back in La Colonia and
Yeah,
in Oxnard, top of the food chain, by the way.
yeah, top of the food
Fernando.
chain, man.
And Fernando, man, he's just, he had it hard. And we've had a opportunity to talk and to open up to one another, and he telling me how he came up and how hard he had it at home with his family and not having a father figure, and
Yeah,
then for him to be the total opposite with his kids, and
yeah,
to have that communication that he does with his kids, and that understanding and the love and support. I mean, it's great. It's great to see, and he loves his kids unconditionally. Win, lose, or
absolutely.
draw.
Yeah,
He's told me this: win, lose, or draw, man. I love my family. I love my kids, and nobody can change that. And at the end of the day, we're all we have. You know
that's
what I
it.
mean? We're
That's
all
it.
we have. So he's gonna pick them right back. He's there to pick them up. When they have a bad day at the gym,
Yeah,
and be there
yeah.
for them, and love them, and nurture them, and let them know that he's there for them 100%.
Bro, the first time that I met him was in Fresno, California. One of his sons was fighting. I can't remember which one it was,
Mhm.
but I gave him a man hug because he goes, "Hey, can you introduce my son this way?" And I did, and he loved it. Bro, it was like hugging a bag of bricks. This dude is freaking solid. Fernando
Yeah,
is
yeah.
solid still
That's
today.
not today.
Hey, he's one of them raw bad
Yeah,
dudes, man.
yeah,
You
man.
don't want
I
to
would
cross that dude.
not even, bro. I ain't messing with Fernando,
He'd
man.
be my first pick. He'd be I picked Tyson Fury second. I'm gonna take Fernando Vargas first.
That's right. That's right,
No,
man.
man. I
Fernando's
mean,
great,
and he's a good family man, and he is a class act.
for
I want to
sure.
say this. We have some questions, and our questions that we got coming up. These first questions are sponsored by, and I want to say they're sponsored by Red Wave Tattoo and Art Gallery in Fresno, California. They're located at 7277 North Blackstone Avenue, or they can be reached on phone 559-439-7256. Ask for Rico and tell him the fighter's voice sent him. So we got some questions coming in. I mean, this phone keeps going off, and if I don't get to someone right now, Manny, we're going to be playing catch up.
Right on.
Okay. Questions and comments. This is from Sean Gibbons.
John.
Great guy, class act, and his father was a wonderful person
Right
who
on.
I worked with. And with Manny, it doesn't fall far from the tree, man.
Man, that's
So
awesome, man.
that's
Sean
from
Gibbons.
Sean Gibbons,
Wow.
the Viva Sean, the Viva man,
Viva Sean. Yeah.
with the Woody doll.
With Woody. Yeah. I just saw him last Saturday in Vegas, and I got a opportunity to talk to him for a little while. I've known him for a very long time, and many, many years. And like you said, he was a friend of my dad's. And any friend of my dad's is a friend of mine. So, he's great, man. Sean, he's a Hall of Famer for sure.
Yeah,
definitely a Hall of Famer, man, and he's very well known, very well respected individual in the sport of boxing, hard worker. Now with Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
So yeah, he deserves it, man. He deserves all the fame and the glory and everything that comes with, working with Manny Pacquiao. So I tip my hat off to him, and nothing but respect for Sean.
Yeah, they got a tough one coming up, but hey, I believe. You got to believe. Iron sharpens iron.
Absolutely.
They're going to get it done.
If anybody can do it, it's Manny.
Absolutely, man. I mean, just him taking the fight, man, it just adds to his legacy. He dares himself to be great, even at this age, even at where he's at. Nobody can beat him. No one can touch. Heck, I'll take him on. That's Manny's mind frame. I want the absolute best out there. I want to share the ring with the absolute best when they're in their prime. I want to define myself that I stepped up to the plate.
Yes, sir. That's a lot.
This is coming from Richard Torres Sr. His son, Richard Torres Jr., is in the Olympics, super heavyweight. And he said, make sure you give Manny Robles my absolute best. He'd always see you at Wild Card when they would go visit, and he'd have Richard Torres spar with some of the fighters there. And you were all about business and all about just keened into your fighters and, supporting them as you always do.
Yes,
so that's from Richard Torres Sr. And we're going to be pulling for his son, man, in Japan.
That's right.
Yeah,
awesome.
Definitely. Let me see. Nice. Have money on. Okay. He said, okay. Just a comment. Hey, Richard, it's awesome of you to have Manny on your show. Class act. And this is coming from, this is a producer from Fox Sports.
Okay.
So, I mean, when in this business, you meet people behind the scenes and in front of the scenes and behind the camera, in front of the camera. But man, we'll take all the supporters we can get, man. And just know that you are making an impact, man. I mean, like I said, future Hall of Famer, because you're in the middle of it. You're in your prime right now, Manny.
Well, thank you for that. I feel good. I feel strong. I feel good, and I like I said, I'm blessed, and as you said before, when you love what you do, you never got to work a day in your life, man. So I love getting up in the morning, hitting the gym on a daily basis, working with my pros, my amateurs. I still go back and work with the amateur kids, and they're what got me here. So I can't turn away. I can't turn my back on the amateur kids that are chasing that goal. They're
the future,
dream,
man.
You know what I mean? So absolutely. So I'm definitely still take part in that and building champions. Champions not only as you said, not only in the ring but outside the ring as well.
Absolutely,
I believe that's all a responsibility.
Absolutely. Now, talking about champions, you were part of a championship match this Saturday, Top Rank Boxing, ESPN, with Michaela. Talk to us about the preparation, the team, the atmosphere, and talk to me about that weigh-in, because her opponent tried to make her flinch and she didn't even blink. She did not even move. She didn't even know that something occurred.
I mean, the last thing on your mind, I speak from experiences, the last thing on your mind when you get up on the scale is your opponent. You know what I mean? You struggle, man. You just like every fighter does. I don't want to know of a fighter that never struggles to make weight. You get up on that scale, man. The last thing on your mind is your opponent. Get me on this scale, and where's my drink? Where's my Pedialyte? Where's my water? Where's my hydration?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So when that happened, she took it well. She didn't say anything after that. I mean, look, Michaela doesn't speak Spanish. So regardless of what she said, it doesn't make any difference because she didn't know what she said anyway. So, they had a good camp. I'm there to assist Coach Al Mitchell, and her head coach. And I'm blessed to be part of the team, for them to make me part of the team. And I've been with her since her professional debut. I wrap her hands. I'm her cut man. I wrap her hands, and every now and then when I get an opportunity to get in the mix and work with her, I'm there for them. I'm there for Coach Al. I'm there for Michaela, Coach K. Great people. She has a great team behind her with her manager, George Reese. and she's a great girl, man. I mean, she's definitely she's beautiful, you know,
Yeah.
good looking lady,
Yeah.
and world champion, and she can fight, and she
Yeah.
proved it Saturday night. She had her hands full versus this Argentinian fighter, two-time world champion. For those of you that did not know this, her opponent was former two-time world champion, so she had her hands full. And,
Yeah.
and you know, she was out to a rocky start. The first couple of rounds, 2 or 3 rounds weren't, you know, didn't actually go Michaela's way, but she, as the fight went on, she adjusted, listening to her corner, listening to Coach Al, and you know, made adjustments during the fight, and you know, she won she got a unanimous decision win. So it's never easy, especially at this level. There's no such thing as easy. It may
Yeah.
look easy, but believe me, it's not. You know, she worked extremely hard for this fight, and nobody deserves it more than Michaela.
Very, very well said. You know, I want to say this right now, and I'm going to switch it up real quick, and then I want to ask you about a certain fighter that you met.
Mhm.
And real quick, in MMA news, Combate Global signed a big deal because it used to be Combate Americas. And now it's Combate Global, and it used to be all Spanish. The broadcasting was all Spanish, but they signed a huge deal today. Combate Global signed an English broadcasting deal with Paramount Plus and CBS Sports. So talk about expansion, crossing over, and reaching the masses. And I know you're an MMA fan because I got to ask you this. What was it like meeting Conor McGregor?
Oh, man. It was, look, what can I say? I mean, I was working with Michael Collin at the time, and I had to be focused on the fight. This was Michael Collin's professional debut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, forget about me, Michael, having Conor McGregor in the locker room, you know, being part of the entourage and his professional debut. But nobody could have done it better than Michael, being a two-time Olympian, you know, knowing how to act under pressure, how to behave under pressure, how to fight under pressure. He did a very good job, got the stoppage, got I believe it was a third knockout win. But as far as I'm concerned, I mean, Conor McGregor, he's all that and more, man. I mean, who doesn't want him? You know, who doesn't want to meet Conor McGregor? And for us for myself to be fortunate enough to have met him that night and be around him, it was like a dream come true. You know what I mean? Because he's such a huge star. You know what I mean? In MMA, in the world of sports in general, period. He's a very well known, you know, figure in the world of in MMA and in the world of sports that you could not help not to be excited and get excited at just being around him. But again, like I said, you just gotta learn to put all of that aside and know that you have a job to do. You know, we had a job to do that night with Michael, and having a packed house at the Madison Square Gardens, man. I mean, that's the Mecca of boxing. You know what I mean? It was great. It was incredible. But I mean, I'm blessed, man. I'm lucky. I'm blessed. I'm a lucky guy, man, to do what I do and to meet the people I meet and be surrounded by so many
the president of Mexico.
individuals.
What was that like?
Oh, incredible. One of the highlights of my life, you know, just being sitting there with the president of Mexico, such a nice guy, such a down to earth individual. You know what I mean? He was Andy called him Tocayo because they have the same name, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador.
Oh, okay.
And Andy's name is Andres. So we walk in and Andy calls him Tocayo. Hey, Tocayo. I'm like, oh. Tocayo. So the president right back, Tocayo, hey, Tocayo. So, you know, I mean, man, but it was definitely one of the highlights of my career as a coach. And I thank Andy for that. I thank his dad for the opportunity for, you know, I mean, they didn't have to bring me, you know, when they went to go visit the president.
Yeah.
I didn't have to be there. And by the way, there must have been about 15, 20 of us maybe at that particular event. And only 4 of us got a chance to walk in to meet the president.
Wow.
And I'll never forget this. Andy's dad turns around and looks at him and says, "Coach, come on, you're coming in with us." He didn't have to do that. Could have taken, we could have, you know, had anybody else walk in there. But I was fortunate, you know, I was lucky to have been part of, you know, such a memorable event. So you know, I thank him for that. I thank Andy for that, man. I'll never forget what we did together as a team.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that I will always have that in my heart, man. And you know, we
And
made history together.
And I'm going to talk to you about that right now. I'm going to ask you one question, and then we're going to go to a closing segment. I'm going to
Sure.
shout out a sponsor that we have. But I got to ask you this right now, man. Who jumped higher when you won? Was it Andy or you?
Who carried? Did you see me carry Andy?
Yeah.
I don't know where I got that strength, man. No, it was great, man. It was great. I guess we both did. I mean, we're both so excited. Such an emotional moment, you know, for all of us. You know, for the team, you know, for Estrellita, my assistant, Andy's dad, Andy himself, myself. I mean, and nobody believed in us, man. I mean, nobody thought we could pull it off.
Well, he did come on The Fighter's Voice, and we did introduce him as the new heavyweight champion of the world, because he came on right before. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at the new heavyweight champion of the world. And he was able to come on the show, and we were able to. He brought him on before. When the fight was just being, hey, let him know you're available. And he was, well, right now, I want to concentrate on the fighter ahead of me. But he did take care of business. So we kind of had him on back to back to back. And it was a good run. It was a good roll. And we were very supportive. And I will say this, when he got knocked down, I'm at my friend Bill's house. And I said, now's his opportunity, because he doesn't have to chase him. That's what I told Bill. Bill goes, oh, no, look at his arm, though. I go, no. I said, just like Evander Holyfield, when he would get rocked, I mean, I said, now's his opportunity. And everybody in there, they looked at me like I was crazy, because he doesn't have to chase him. Like I said, Andy's okay. Look at his eyes. He's okay. And when he started banging back, man. And the rest, as they say, is history.
The rest is history, man. Yeah. Memorable night. Man, we'll never forget.
But I got a confession, man. I got a confession. I think I jumped higher than you and Andy.
Oh, you think so?
When that happened. Yes, I was jumping up and down, man. And I had a hurt knee at the time. I was jumping up and down, and I was just, oh my gosh, I lost my voice. It was just, when he won, we all won.
Definitely. Like I said, it's one of the moments that I'll live with me for the rest of my life. And as I said before, you know, we're talking about my dad. I mean, just like, I wish my dad could have been there, you know, but people say, but he was there with
brother, your dad was there. He was there. And, you know, people tell me that about my son with Richie, and I feel Richie, and I always know. And when I see something, you know, I'll giggle to myself, and I'll say to myself, man, Richie, you don't even try to hide it. You make it so obvious. You know, because I'll see a player wearing number 10 all the time, or just somebody to just say something, or randomly they'll just, you know, they don't even know the whole meaning behind it. They'll just say, and I'm like, this guy is just a regular person. He doesn't know. He doesn't. But so I'll get, you know, so believe me, it's there. It's there. Don't try to figure it out. Just absorb it and have it all, man. Because it's a special moment, and it's a beautiful moment, and it's designed for us. It's designed for us, Manny.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir, man. Yeah, you gotta have faith, man. Faith. You know, I mean, let me tell you, I did some interviews after the fight, and I was very emotional, and I look at some of the interviews now, and then sometimes people will tag me with those interviews. Yeah. And I was so emotional, man, but it came from the heart, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? It came from the heart. It came from a very special place within me. It's just like, man, let me tell you, man, it's just, you know, people, I don't even know how to explain it, but like you said, my dad was there with me that night. You know, it was meant to be, man. It was meant to happen exactly the way it did, and we believed, and that's what happens when you believe. That's what happens when you work hard.
You gave it life.
Leave no stone unturned, man.
That's right.
And we didn't get lucky. A lot of you guys got lucky that night. No, we didn't. No, the people don't have no idea the amount of work that we.
I don't believe in the word luck.
You know,
no,
that we put in so much hard work into this fight, and I also, and you know what, I know Andy's, you know, he moved on and he's training somewhere else now, and I said this, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I believe in Andy. If anybody can do it, it's Andy. Yeah, but he's got to want it, man. If man, and Andy that's prepared, Andy that's 100%, Andy that's focused. Look out, man. Look out, because. Like I said, man, he got lucky, man. No way, man. This guy, he's for those of you who have been following Andy from the start of his career and watch his growth in boxing and everything that he's been able to do in boxing. Believe me, this kid, he's quick, he's fast, he may not look the part, but he can definitely play the part. You know what I mean? Where he's quick, he's fast, he's strong, he's sharp, and look out. So hey, Andy, hopefully, he get another crack at the world title and make the best of it, man. That's all I can say.
Exactly. And I will say this, when I say future Hall of Famer, because you're a part of history, and that doesn't happen one without the other. Iron sharpens iron. Enough said. This is our closing segment, and it's sponsored by Certified Heating and Air Conditioning. Ask for Jess, tell him Richard Ortiz sent you, and they can be reached at 559-273-8048. And you can see I'm rocking the hat right now. I'm very supportive because our AC unit has been out, man. Going on day 3. As we speak, he's in there. He's putting in work. He's getting it done, and he's gonna make it like a big Uletta when I get home, bro. It's just boom, it's gonna hit me, So I'm looking forward to that because I was miserable last night, man. I couldn't sleep, and you're just tossing and turning. But hey, man, and I appreciate his service. I appreciate Jess and what he's doing. This is our closing segment, man. And I want to ask you this, man. If there was one fighter that you would love to corner before it's all said and done, they're here today, or they were in the past, or even in the present, or you would love the opportunity, what 3 fighters would it be?
3 fighters.
Yes, 3 fighters, and it could be different eras, man.
The first one would definitely have to be Salvador Sanchez.
Oh, I like that one.
Salvador Sanchez, man, definitely on top of my list. One of my favorite fighters of all time. The fights with Danny Little Red Lopez and Azuma Nelson, and he's an incredible fighter.
Wilfredo Gomez.
Left Wilfredo Gomez.
Yes.
Left too soon. Yeah, 23 years old. But definitely Salvador Sanchez. And two other fighters. Oh man, maybe Chavez. Who would Chavez, Maverick Taylor? Who wouldn't want to be in the corner,
man.
right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Oh man,
Yeah.
Chavez.
Those crucial fights, him and Frankie Randall, or even him, fighting De La Hoya when De La Hoya was in his prime.
Yeah.
Edwin Rosario. Yes.
That was a hell of a fight too.
Yeah,
hell of a fight. It was. What about Diego Chico Corrales and Jose Luis Castillo? Either corner.
Oh my gosh.
Just being
man. And they almost stopped the fight.
Oh, they did.
When he got up, and I'm like, this guy isn't getting up. He just fought on muscle memory and heart and balls.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Gosh.
It reminds me a little bit of the Andy Ruiz fight with Joshua getting dropped and getting back up, and and then obviously
and taking over.
Definitely. So, but yeah, Jose Luis Ramirez and Diego Chico Corrales. May his soul rest in peace with Diego. We lost another great fighter there, and but their memory lives on, man. I mean, they've given so many great fights, so many great memories. The best fight in boxing history, perhaps, in many people's views. So yeah, I mean, either way, either Jose Luis or obviously you want to be on a winning side, but nonetheless, what a great fight, what a great war. So yeah, Diego Chico Corrales is, definitely someone that I admired. And when he fought Mayweather, actually, that I was pulling for Diego, to be honest with you. I thought Diego was gonna go ahead and pull the upset, but unfortunately that didn't happen. But nonetheless, it doesn't take away from his greatness.
Yes,
A loss, a defeat does not take away from his greatness, because look at what he was able to do in the future with the Jose Luis Castillo fight, becoming a world champion when he was almost out.
He was almost counted out. Yes, absolutely.
Chavez, Maverick Taylor, and so many other great, Salvador Sanchez, and I think in that particular order, first Salvador Sanchez, then Chavez, and then Diego Chico Corrales will probably be the 3 fights. Those fights, those being in the corner,
being in the heat of it,
and that
those championship rounds.
Oh man, it's, to me.
Can you imagine them coming back to the corner? I mean, staggered, bloody, and you just working them, and you're just prepping them, pepping them up, and firing up to get out there.
Right. No, absolutely. It's again, like I said, I'm the luckiest man in the world doing what I do. But there are times, you always want to be on the winning side, but it doesn't always happen that way.
It's okay to
Sometimes
be
we
on the
have to,
learning side. It's
yeah,
okay to be on the learning
we either
side.
win or we learn, right? Like I said before,
Absolutely.
and sometimes you're not so fortunate, but it's part of boxing. Sometimes you gotta, you mentioned Batir. He just fought. It must have been about three weeks ago.
Yeah.
We're going on 4 weeks. He fought a world title eliminator where I had to stop the fight after the I believe it was after the 8th round. We had 4 rounds to go, and my fighter was getting hurt, and I had to step in and call the fight off, and let the doctor, the referee know that's
Yeah.
it, no mas. You know what I mean? Why? Because I was, I told my
It's your
fighter,
responsibility.
it's my responsibility, and people have no idea the responsibility as coach that we have in the corner, in the ring at the corner at that time, and then we got to look out for their welfare. We got to look out. We got to make sure that they get to live another day and get to fight another fight. And
Absolutely.
that's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to stop a fight, but sometimes you have to do what you have to do because this is bigger than boxing. You know what I mean? We're talking about a human, a person, a human being.
Absolutely.
And we got to make sure that they're able to
that has to go home to their family. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. That wants to have another Thanksgiving, another Christmas, another birthday, and play with their grandkids and be coherent where they can understand things and know what's in front of them.
Correct.
I joked around with you before and I said, man, we can go on and on over and over again. And there's so much things I want to talk about and bring up. Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, but that just means you just got to come back. But I want to ask you this $1 million deep question, man.
Go for it.
When it's all said and done and it's done and you've given boxing everything that you can give, how do you want to be remembered? How do you want to be remembered by your peers, by the fighters, by your family, by the supporters, and by the fans? If they can say one thing about Manny Robles, what would you like to hear coming out of their mouth?
I gave it 100%, that I was passionate about what I did, that I showed up to work every day, no excuses. You know what I mean? No if or buts. That's it. Just somebody that gave it 100%, somebody that never gave up. Even when the situation got difficult, and I had different reasons to probably give up and hang it up and say, you know what, this isn't for me, or I'm gonna hang it up, but I never did. That's a quitter, man. That's a loss. You know what I mean? And that's something I've never been because my dad didn't raise me that way. You know
That's
what I mean?
right.
I keep referring to my dad, my mom, of course, my mother.
Yes.
I love him. But my dad, he was my best friend. So for those of you out there that still have your dads, make sure you we just had a Fat Father's Day this past weekend.
Yes, we did.
You know what I mean? So for those of you that still got your pops out there, man, make sure you give them a great big hug and let them know you love them. Because you just never know.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. Do me a favor when you have time, Manny. There's a lot of questions and comments that are on the YouTube. And if they can hear from you personally to go back, because I can't get to all of them, they would love that. You know what? I want to thank you for taking the time to come on there. And I know we rescheduled. We had some things going on. And, I wanted to give Camacho a tribute that Thursday going into that fight because you don't get that back. And like you said, you never know if that was his last time. And for you to be understanding and some people that they get, they get a little butthurt, they get a little sore, they get a little sensitive, but you've always been a winner, man. You've always been a straight shooter. You've been, I don't even, when you go on the show the first time, I said, man, this isn't even a show. I love this. I can do this all day long. Talk about someone that truly knows the sport of boxing and is passionate as I am. I'm going to have to come and visit the gym, man. I'm going to be off in about 2 weeks. And I got to make some time. I said, a lot of people say, hey, so what are you going to do when you're done working this summer? I go, man, I'm going to go gym hopping. Oh, you're going bar hopping? Yeah, I'll go with you. I said, no, brother, gym hopping.
That's
I'm going to go visit some of these gyms that I never get a chance to do so because I'm always working, man. But I got to make contact with you. I swing by during the week, a couple of days, interview some of your fighters, get some content and soak it all up, man.
For sure. You got to make sure you show up on a sparring day, catch all the action.
Oh, I'll definitely. I'll do that. I'll do that. Absolutely. And I appreciate you rocking the Fighter's Voice t-shirt, man. I seen you on video, holding
Right.
the pads, and I see you rocking it, man. And, if it starts to get faded, let me know, man. We'll get you another one. I appreciate the support.
For
I'm
sure.
always rocking what we do.
There you go. I'm due for a new one, man.
Like, okay, yes, you are. Yes, you are. I'm gonna have to hook you up, man. I'm gonna have to bring some extra ones too. Maybe some mediums and some larges for some of your fighters out there. So when I go there, it'll be worthwhile, man. And I want to thank everybody who tuned in and everybody that subscribed to the channel. Once again, if you haven't subscribed, we need more subscribers, more supporters. That's our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/thefightersvoice. And everybody who left their question and comments, if I couldn't get to it, as you heard me, I asked Manny himself that he can go there and he will on his leisure time, but he'll get back to every single one of you as best and as fast as he can. And there's so many stories and so many topics that we could talk about. That only means that, you got to come back on. And whenever you got some news to bring us, say, hey, Rich, man, let me know if you got some time, because I really want to talk about this subject. Bro, the platform is yours. It's designed for the fighter. It's designed for the athlete. It's designed for the fighters that are fighting cancer, those that are fighting for survival. So when I say the fighter's voice, and I'll say it over and over again, you don't need a mouthpiece or boxing gloves to be on the fighter's voice and to fulfill that platform. The real fighters out there that, we get the, like I've always said, the fighter. I say we, because I always see myself as a fighter. I'm fighting to continue to go forward and live life and breathe, and turn a negative into a positive. But those that are fighting cancer and fighting a disease, fighters get the opportunity of hearing the bell, and then the fight's over. But for those that are fighting cancer, those that are fighting for their marriage, those that are fighting, heartache, they don't get to hear that bell. So it's just something to think about, everybody. And be blessed with your day. Hug your kids, love your kids, be faithful to your work, believe in yourself. When someone says you can't do it, they're only telling you deep down, yes, you can do it, and you already did it. Any last words, Manny? How can we follow you? How can we support you? What's the name of your gym?
Listen, man, after everything that you said, wow, you leave me speechless, brother. I have nothing but respect for you. Thank you for having me on your shows. Thank you for allowing me to, spend some time with you and your followers.
And some time with your dad.
That's right, man.
You did right off the get. That was beautiful, bro. I was soaking it all up. I was loving it, bro.
Oh man, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. You can follow me at manual.boxing on Instagram and Facebook, and manual_boxing on Twitter. So yeah, there you have it. You can come and join us at my gym at the Legends Boxing Academy in the city of Southgate. We're always there from Monday through Saturday, every day, doing what we love. So anybody want to come in and get some sparring, any of you pros out there want to come out and get some real work, you're more than welcome to. And thank you for having me. Again, I'm the luckiest man in the world. And just like you said, when you love what you do, you never got to work a day in your life.
Absolutely. Very well said. Hey, I'm your host, Richard Ortiz. Thanks for tuning in. I want to thank our guest, Manny Robles, man, for making it happen. The future Hall of Fame trainer. And believe me, I don't know when it's going to happen, but it will happen. He will be with that ring and be inducted. Hey, as always, it's a wrap. Thumbs up for Richie.
Don't miss out. Now you can listen to the Fighter's Voice podcast radio show on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio. New show, new topics, new look, bringing you the latest news. Every fighter has a voice, and so do you. For the hottest and latest in sports and entertainment, exclusive interviews with the biggest names in the sport of boxing and MMA.
I'm Robert Garcia. I'm Jose Ramirez. Hey guys, this is Mikey Garcia, and I'm here with
The Fighter's Voice.